as the final death, the second death. We all will experience one death, providing the Lord doesn't come before we do. But that's the second death. And I don't think these demons were in danger of that. They were in danger, they thought, of being shoved into the abyss where they would be totally to themselves, if you will. Total darkness, probably. I'm not sure what all's there. But until Christ released them finally. And they're begging not to let that happen to them. In the 32nd verse, a large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. This is another illustration that this was not a Jewish community. They were not allowed to eat pigs. They were not allowed to touch pigs. They were not allowed to do anything with pigs. It was an abomination to them. So having a large herd there would certainly indicate who owned them certainly was Gentile. And it was a Gentile area. But the demons begged Jesus to let them go into them, and he gave them permission. Again, I don't know if anybody can explain this completely, but when the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake. Apparently they were on a hillside at the time and at the shore, and was drowned. Now, why did demons want to go into pigs so that they'd run away, and maybe again they didn't have complete control of the body, and those demons going inside of them startled the pig. Something happened, but they drowned. Now they don't have a pig body, but at least they're not in the abyss. I don't know about all that. But all those pigs that the demons possessed are drowned now, and the man who had all those demons is perfectly free of them. When those tending the pigs saw what had happened, they ran off and reported this in the town and countryside. And the people went out to see what had happened. Now again, they were suffering, if you will, because that was a great part of their economics, if you will. And they probably counted on that for food, certainly counted on it for money. This was a large herd. I don't know if I read somewhere, I don't know where they'd get the number, 2,000. I have no idea. Just large. That's what the Scripture says. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out, sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. This, to me, almost describes our country today. They look around and see the Christians and see what they stand for, and they are afraid. I don't understand it, nor do I understand that. But they don't want us. They don't want the Christians. They don't want prayer. They don't want God mentioned on anything. They are afraid. Why? I don't particularly understand it, nor do I understand these people. But folks, I think we're in a society, in a time where we're in a way parallel to this, and it goes on to parallel, if you will. If I can find out where I was at. The man was sitting quietly at Jesus' feet, dressed in his right mind. 36th verse. Those who had seen it told the people how the demon-possessed man had been cured. Then all the people of the region of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them. What is our country doing today? It's already totally. Our schools and our government and so forth, we don't want any part to do with that. Why? I don't understand, but they don't. And they're trying to eliminate. Now, they guffawed. They thought that Christians are discriminated against. Yet you can see it all the time. If we had, 14 killed in Fort Hood in Texas here recently, because they were afraid to identify another religion as fanatic in any way. But if that had been a Christian, buddy, they'd have been all over them, like white on rice. And we see that all the time. We are discriminated against. Why Christians are not Muslim? Because we are truly with God. And the Muslims, in my mind, are following Allah, translated Satan. I really believe, because who else Where else could you get that kind of hate that you purposely build into people? That is very satanic in my mind. I'll let them defend that, but because they were overcome with fear, so he got into the boat and left. Another lesson for you and I and our country. If we tell Jesus to leave, he just may leave. And that is a sobering thought. That is a sobering thought. But understand that he got into the boat with his disciples. Those that are dedicated to him was with him. Now, the man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, and this again is where Jesus gave us particular instructions of what we were supposed to do, and I think it applies to you and me. Now, he was a Gentile, the ex-demoniac, if you will. He was a Gentile, but he was a converted Gentile, and he was wanting to follow Christ, and it's good to want to follow Christ. And when we do, what does he have us to do? Sometimes we don't think if we're not suffering, we're not following him. And if we're not on a mission field, we're not following him. If we're not a pastor, we're not following him. If we're not, but none of that. Following Christ is exactly what he told. Now, all these other things may follow, but following him is exactly what it says here. Return home and tell. Return home and tell people around you. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell you those at work, at school, wherever you might be. Tell them how much God has done for you. And Christ is the one that took the demons out, but he was referring to it as God, because he was. You and I know that. They were still struggling with that thought. And this was just a little across-the-bow shot, if you will, saying who he was. But they really hadn't come to grips with that yet. The important thing here, or an important thing, so the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. He actually, this is weird. This is absolutely weird. He actually followed Christ's instructions. The rest of us would rather wait, or check it out, or check to see if it's really what he wants. Now, is that really what he wants? No, this man did exactly why? Because it had been very recently, within hours of Christ taking the demons out. He was very keenly aware of it. Most of us have been saved for years and totally forgot the joy we had in our heart at the time. And we'll forget that. And we don't do what God would have us do, and that's return home and tell. And that means a different thing for each one of us. But the man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him. But Jesus sent him away, saying, return home and tell how much God has done for you. So the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. Now, I want to finish with this. If you'll go to 9:22, this is the next chapter over, 22 and 23. I want to read this. Well, let me start with 21. Jesus strictly warned him not to tell this to anyone. And he said, this is a different story. But he said, the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and teachers of the law, and he must be killed, and on the third day be raised to life.